Hello, everyone. Hotels are meant to be places of rest, places where weary travelers can leave behind the worries of the road and enjoy a safe night's sleep. Yet behind the warm lights, polished lobbies, and numbered doors, there are stories that make even the most ordinary hotel seem like a doorway into the unknown. Among the strangest and most unsettling of these tales is the legend of the Vanishing Hotel Room, a mystery that has haunted travelers for over a century. It begins innocently, with a guest who checks in, sometimes with a companion, sometimes alone. They are assigned a room, the key turns smoothly, the door opens, and the room appears perfectly normal. But when morning comes, or when someone returns to look for them, both the room and the guest have vanished, as though they never existed. Records show no such person ever checked in. The hotel staff deny any knowledge, and sometimes the room itself is simply gone, replaced by a wall or renumbered as if it had never been there at all. The story, most often told, begins in Paris at the end of the 19th century. A young Englishwoman named Charlotte and her mother arrived in the city for the first time to attend the Great Exposition Universelle. They checked into a grand hotel, one of those shining with chandeliers and velvet carpets, a place where carriages lined up outside and guests from every corner of the world mingled. Charlotte's mother, however, suddenly fell ill upon arrival. A doctor was summoned, and he declared she needed rest and medicine. Charlotte was sent out into the city to fetch it, leaving her mother comfortably settled in their room. She remembered every detail clearly: the brass numbers on the door, the embroidered curtains, the perfume of fresh flowers on the table. She expected to return within the hour, but when she did, nothing was as it had been. The room number was gone, replaced by a blank wall. No sign of her mother, no belongings, nothing. Confused and panicked, she rushed to the front desk. The clerks looked at her politely, but firmly denied that she had ever checked in with her mother. They insisted she had arrived alone. No one in the hotel remembered her mother at all. Even the doctor who had been summoned earlier was nowhere to be found. In desperation, Charlotte searched every floor, pleading with staff and other guests, but every record and every voice told the same story. Her mother had never existed. Days later, Charlotte was sent home to England, broken and confused, unable to prove what she knew had happened. The world moved on, but the tale of the Vanishing Hotel Room had begun. This legend spread across Europe and beyond. Versions appeared in different cities: London, Vienna, New York. In some, it was not a mother who vanished, but a friend, a husband, a sibling. In others, the guests themselves checked in and was never seen again, their room erased from memory and records alike. What ties all these versions together is the same terrifying detail. Not only did the person disappear, but the very existence of the room itself was denied or altered, leaving those who remained questioning their sanity. Skeptics argue that the story is nothing more than an urban legend, a parable about the unreliability of memory or the dangers of traveling alone in a foreign land. But others are not so sure. Strange cases in modern times echo the old stories. Tourists have reported staying in hotels where, upon returning later in the day, their room numbers changed or their belongings were moved as though they had never been there. Some describe staff who behave oddly, evasively, avoiding eye contact when asked about certain rooms. A few have even captured photographs of hallways where a door once stood, now covered by wallpaper or bricked over without explanation. What is especially chilling are the patterns. The Vanishing Room is almost always described the same way: lightly old-fashioned decor, a faintly musty scent, a sense of calm or drowsiness when inside. Those who leave someone behind in such a room report feeling unusually reluctant to do so, as though something deep inside warns them not to go. Yet once the person leaves, the room seems to slip out of time, consumed by whatever force lies behind the legend. There are theories, of course. Some suggest secret experiments during times of war, when hotels were used as safe houses and certain guests were deliberately erased from history. Others believe in more supernatural explanations, that these rooms are portals, thin places where time folds in on itself, swallowing both space and people whole. There are even whispers that the rooms themselves are alive, feeding on those unlucky enough to stay within them, leaving no trace behind. And yet, Despite the fear, the story never dies. Travelers continue to swap tales of strange rooms, missing companions, and hotel staff who insist nothing ever happened. The vanishing hotel room has become one of the most enduring mysteries of modern folklore, its roots stretching back centuries, but its branches reaching into the present day. And as unsettling as the legend is, one truth remains. It could happen to anyone on any trip, behind any numbered door in the years following the Paris exposition. Whispers of the vanishing hotel room began to grow louder. By the mid-20th century, investigators of the strange and unexplained had collected dozens of eerily similar accounts. Some came from reputable sources, travelers whose names were published in newspapers, families who swore their loved ones had vanished abroad, even police who could not deny odd inconsistencies in hotel records. While skeptics dismissed these reports as confusion, miscommunication, or even lies, others saw a disturbing pattern that could not be ignored. One of the most chilling cases was documented in the 1940s when an American businessman checked into a hotel in Berlin. His secretary accompanied him, taking careful notes of his itinerary, but after he vanished, she was told by the hotel staff that he had never arrived. No record of his stay existed, no luggage remained, and the room he had supposedly been given did not appear on any floor. Terrified, she fled back to the United States and later told her story to journalists who, though intrigued, could not verify her claims. Yet her vivid details and consistent testimony left many convinced she had witnessed something beyond the ordinary in the 1970s. A similar event occurred in Rome. A young couple honeymooning in the city reported that the bride fell ill one night and her husband went to fetch medicine. When he returned, the door to their room was sealed, replaced by a wall that looked as though it had stood for decades. The hotel staff insisted the couple had never been guests. The groom, distraught and confused, went to the police, but by the time they arrived, his name was missing from the registry as well. Some believe his bride vanished into the room, swallowed by something not of this world, while he was left behind as a witness to an impossible truth. Modern times have not silenced the legend. In 2003, a British tourist in Hong Kong claimed that his traveling companion vanished overnight. They had checked into a modest hotel, shared a meal in the restaurant, and then retired for the night. In the morning, the tourist awoke to find his friend gone and the bed untouched, as if no one had slept there at all. When he questioned the front desk, they insisted he had checked in alone. Security cameras showed only him entering the lobby. His friend, it seemed, had never existed in the eyes of the hotel. Disturbed, the man shared his story online, where it spread rapidly, sparking debates between skeptics and believers. Some pointed to possible mental breakdown or fraud, but others saw yet another example of the vanishing hotel room legend. Refusing to die explanations have varied wildly over the decades. Psychologists suggest these events are misremembered tragedies, people falling ill or dying abroad, with grieving companions repressing the truth and inventing an alternate narrative of disappearance. Bureaucratic errors, language barriers, and wartime chaos may also explain why hotel staff sometimes deny knowledge of guests. Yet these rational ideas fail to explain the recurring detail of the missing room itself. Again and again, witnesses describe a room that is no longer there, as though it never existed. This detail pushes the story beyond mere human error and into the realm of the paranormal. Some researchers propose the theory of time slips. According to this idea, certain places act as thin spots in the fabric of reality, where time folds or warps unexpectedly. A guest who enters one of these rooms may cross into another timeline, a parallel dimension where they are forever lost. To those left behind, it seems as though the room itself vanishes, replaced by something ordinary, while in truth the missing guest is trapped somewhere just beyond reach. Others believe these rooms are not natural phenomena, but deliberate constructs. Bases altered by forces unknown, perhaps to conceal people, erase them, or feed on their presence. Folklore even hints at a darker possibility. In older European tales, Inns were sometimes described as places where demons or spirits preyed upon travelers. Rooms that swallowed guests whole were seen as cursed spaces designed to claim the unsuspecting. Could the Vanishing hotel room be a modern version of these older beliefs, the same phenomenon retold for a new age? If so, the danger may be far older than the hotels themselves. What is undeniable is the fear the story inspires. Travelers still share warnings in hushed voices. Never leave a sick companion alone in a strange room. Never assume the number on the door will still be there in the morning. And never ignore the feeling of dread that creeps in when you cross a threshold that feels wrong. For those who believe, the legend is not just a story but a survival guide, and yet, despite all the fear, no one can resist the mystery. Investigators continue to chase reports, hoping one day to capture evidence of a vanishing room. Photographs, video, proof that such places exist. But every attempt ends in frustration. Doors that once stood are gone, records vanish, witnesses are left questioning their own sanity. The Vanishing hotel room remains what it has always been, a riddle without an answer. A story that lingers in the shadows of every hallway and behind every locked door, so the next time you travel, when you check into a hotel and slide the key into the lock, pause for a moment. Look closely at the door, at the number, at the space itself. Ask yourself, will this room still be here tomorrow? And if you leave, will the people you love still be waiting when you return? Or will you find only silence and the cold denial of strangers who swear the room and your loved one never existed at all?